Hey everyone, welcome to the Above the Yellow Line live stream on a Thursday night. I feel like I need to change that thing because you all know it's Thursday. I just like for the audience that likes to watch it later, like to mention it's a Thursday. Keep things up to date. But regardless of that, glad you could all join us. We have a little bit of a scattered show tonight, but it's stacked with information, opinions, topics. We're even going to go past NASCAR and talk some INDYCAR about the halfway point through the show and bring in some special guests of ours that you've seen on the show before. Alex and Zack. So very excited to talk to them. But obviously, I have a guest with me here, ATYL crew member, Adam Lucas. Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
I like the
How we
hat.
doing? Thank you.
You're welcome. Gotta rep the merch,
Oh, definitely. This is a classic. I do recall a few years ago at the Coke 600 weekend, had a couple people ask me, "Oh, where'd you get the hat from?" I was like, "Oh, I know a lady. She might be able to hook you up, but you're gonna have to pay for it."
That's the thing. This is like what's fun about this hat in particular is it's the old iteration of ATYL. It's without the yellow Y, so it's kind of like historical.
Yes.
Yeah. And then of course we have the pins on it. I don't know if you have pins on yours right now, but
my pins are off because I had a plethora of them to begin with, and then I did not want to get them ruined in some rainy conditions last year.
That's
I just haven't put them back on. To be honest, I actually kind of lost. They're somewhere in this drawer at my desk, but they have rolled up underneath the. Yeah, that's where they are.
That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, the pins I keep in a separate place because I just get nervous that I'm going to lose them. And then I have had one, the ATYL pin that I had on that hat fall off, and I cried. I didn't cry, but internally I did. It was bad. But hi everyone, Adam in the chat. Good to see you. Yeah, we're going to preview Phoenix. We're going to talk about St. Pete. NASCAR boy, hello. Hab and John are in the chat. Yeah, let's start off by talking about Vegas. The first real race of the season. Let me see. I believe I need to get the order of these slides right that I have them. But yeah, this is our point situation right now. I went from fourth all the way up to first, or third up to first. Adam, you're in third. That's good.
I'm finally not in the basement anymore. Thank God. That's the first time in over that might be even in more than a year. And if everybody notices, we have a new addition to the lineup.
We do. Yeah, Toby Christie of TobyChristie.com joined our lineup based off of the live stream that we did last week. He's like, sign me up, and we're like, okay. So he has a bit of a hole he has to dig himself out of because obviously he missed the first two races of the season. But depending on who doesn't pick, who has a bad weekend, he can easily catch up. Right now, those who have not picked so far have been Rob and Brandon. So they're kind of in the weeds there as well. But I mean, the top four, it's close between Ben and I, and then between you and Dom. And I mean, everything changes every single week. So
yes, that's the beautiful thing about our points, how they go. Like, it literally, you can be in the basement one week and the person that's at the top has a terrible weekend, and then they're in the basement early on in the season. If you can keep up. Unlike me last year, I got in a hole and I could not get out of that hole. Even with a win streak during the summertime, I was still in the basement.
I mean, it's so up and down, but I mean, I think that's what's fun about our points situation is it does change so often that you don't give up. It doesn't give you the mindset of giving up because it always shifts. But then that's, our point situation. Let's look at the Cup Series point situation right now. Obviously Kyle Larson dominated the race. I know Adam in the comments mentioned this. I mean, one word for this weekend with Larson was domination. And with this being the first real race of the season, meaning that there wasn't a super speedway style of track, we kind of saw how the field stacks up. Again, I like to give it a few races just to make sure we were sure about what we saw because everyone's kind of getting their footing here. But obviously Kyle Larson, William Byron, Daniel Suarez are locked into the playoffs with their wins. And then from there on out, we kind of go down the line. Adam, I wanted to ask you, what was something that you noticed from Vegas that you kind of took away? What was your main takeaway from that race?
Spire Motorsports. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
They are here. They're here. They might not have gotten the best results for all three of the cars, but they definitely showed that they are here for 2024, and they will be a force to reckon with once we get further into the season. Hopefully, they will continue the momentum that they have right now, seeing that Corey LaJoie right now is knocking on being in that top 16, only 2 points out, very manageable at that point. And like we said, that was really just the first true race of the season. Now we're getting into another true race of the season. So I'm kind of anxious to see if they can carry that momentum that they had at an intermediate track onto a more short track type of layout at Phoenix. So yeah, Spire, they definitely impressed me. Wasn't entirely surprised about Hendrick's dominance with
Oh,
Kyle.
no.
That track suits him very well, and just the ability that he was the one car that when you got to the lead, he could pull away from the rest of the pack. Everybody else, whenever they were in that clean air, seemed to still be caught by second and third and fourth. I think you had even stated that. Has anybody gotten 1 second or more in the lead besides Larson? And I honestly recall that nobody else could.
Right.
So seeing that the competition was that close and that intense, that was something that really, really was cool to see.
Yeah, I was excited because I know last year a lot of the complaints, especially at Vegas and even to Phoenix, was the competition just was way too spread out. You couldn't pass for first. A lot of it was just aerodynamics, and obviously with the new body styles, we're trying to see kind of where everyone stands. I think what's really I took away from this at least was that Toyota is kind of starting where they left off, which with a new body style and they're still trying to figure it out. Their potential is through the roof, in my opinion, as to what they can do, especially in the dirty air. For Ford, they're kind of picking up where they started last year, which means that they still have a lot of work to do, and whether they can catch up in time, I don't know. But no, Spire, I was very impressed by them. Obviously, like you said, Corey LaJoy knocking on the door inside the bubble. I will say, too, I was very impressed to see how the points shook out because both right now, Legacy Motor Club drivers, Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek, are inside that top 16. Obviously, things can change. It's still kind of a testament to their consistency after having a really rough 2023. I almost said 2022, and I'm like, my brain is all over the place in terms of time. But the team I want to highlight, or I guess the driver, is Noah Gragson, and I'm wearing my Stewart Haas Racing shirt for a reason tonight because I think, based off of the performance that we've seen so far, is that Briscoe and Gragson are the top drivers at Stewart Haas Racing right now. Just in terms of, I think, even consistency, though, maybe they don't get the results that they want. Maybe they get involved in wrecks, but at least we're seeing that they have potential and speed over there. And with Noah Gragson getting a top 10 at his home track, very promising. So I was very excited to see that for him, especially after the rough start that he has had in the Cup Series. Let's see here. Hello, James. Good to see you in here. Joey Logano, I think for me with Penske this weekend, I was kind of shocked by their, I don't want to say lack of speed because Brian Blaney ended up figuring it out, but they seemed very off with Joey Logano qualifying on the pole and just sliding back. He got a top 10, but I don't know. That concerned me a little bit, Adam.
I felt a little off with all of the Fords in general. If you look at the points overall, I know we're only 3 races in, but you got some pretty big hitters that are outside, and they're outside by not just a little, by a lot, with Brad Keselowski, Logano, even Buescher and McDowell. McDowell with all his speed that he's had this season on pole days, but when it comes to following through with race setup, they seem to just be missing it quite a bit. So yeah, those are some things to definitely take home and look at. But yeah, I agree with the Stewart Haas with the two kids of the team are showing their worth and showing that they belong, and that yes, it's going to take a little while for the team as a whole to get back to where they were with their dominance. Feels like forever ago if we're on the topic of years, but it's good to see that there's at least 2 of them and not just one car that's dominating or being the top dog at that team.
Right, because to be successful as an organization, you can't rely on one driver, and I feel that's what Stewart Haas Racing had done for the past many, many years.
And that's kind of what it feels like with Penske so far out of the gate. It feels like everything has been on Blaney's shoulders.
Yeah.
Cindric has speed on pole day, then he disappears. Logano has speed on pole day, and he struggles. It's a strange mixture that we have right now.
Yeah, and do we bring Dom in?
Mr. Man with a plan on location.
Unexpected. Hello.
Good evening, everyone. I'm on location at Phoenix Raceway.
Was getting a little bit of
Welcome to Phoenix, y'all.
Nice.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
Start-finish line is just finished getting painted. Everything else looks brand spanking new. This is my first time at the track. It is gorgeous here.
I'm so jealous.
Such a cool track.
Even to like the weather, just it was rainy and gross today in Ohio. So I'm kind of, all right.
Well, the rain looks like off in the distance.
It is not even 60 degrees here because it rained here today.
Okay.
So it's a little chilly for Arizona standards, but good news is all the weather has moved out of the area, and it's going to be nice and sunny for the rest of the weekend.
Bless. Bless. Well, do you want to join us for some NASCAR news, or you got to run?
I can hang out for a little bit. Yeah, I've got some time. Luckily, got a little bit of a gap, so in a little bit I'm going to go see the great Pete Weber and some of the professional bowlers over across the street who are having a little tournament tonight. So if you know who Pete Weber is, if you don't know who he is, all I have to say is, who do you think you are? I am.
I am.
That's all you need to know about PDW. The greatest to ever grab a bowling ball.
I'm out here just living his best life, meeting Pete Weber, or at least going
I
to see
know.
him. That's so
But
cool.
we walked in just briefly just to get an idea of where we want to get our videos and pictures. And they're all just warming up. And the first guy up was Pete Weber. And I just saw him throw a warm-up ball. I was like, that's freaking Pete Weber, man.
That's insane. That's insane.
But Taylor, I just want to, just because I know this will make you very happy. The last time we were here at Phoenix Raceway, a certain Ryan Blaney called this place Victory Lane home, and he held up the NASCAR Cup for the first time in his career, becoming the third Penske driver to win the Cup.
We're fans here. We're a little biased, just a little bit though.
Also, it is a tad breezy, so if the wind is getting loud, please let me know and I will mute myself.
10-4. Sounds
But
good.
we can go ahead. Move on. Moving on.
Let's bring in Rob too, because Rob has also joined the chat. Hi, Rob.
I picked the right shirt to wear.
I missed the memo. I'm so mad.
You know what's great? I wasn't wearing this all day until I got home 5 minutes ago and was like, there's no way I'm wearing a Holy Cross shirt here.
Valid.
Nice.
Man, now I feel left out. Oh, that's fine. I have all Blaney stuff in the background. I have my body armor shrine. It's all good. We're good. We're accounted for.
Wait, what shirt are you wearing?
It's a Stuart Haas shirt. I just, felt like we needed to give some love to Noah Gragson this show because of his good performance. So
Yeah, I don't think so.
I haven't hooked myself up with any. I haven't hooked myself up with any Phoenix gear, so I'm rocking with the Glen today.
we love to see it. Love to see it.
America's road course.
Can you
No.
can you give us any insight as to whether or not Watkins Glen is changing their logo?
Oh,
like
yes.
The rest of the track?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I would assume it's probably different for them because they host so many different things.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything, so that's all I can say on that. But as of right now, the logo won't be changing anytime soon.
Okay, good. It's a good logo. I don't think it
I like
needs
the
to be
logos.
changed.
It's nice.
We're very particular about the logos
nice.
here. We have
Yes, we are.
opinions.
Listen,
Logos,
as
paint
much as I
schemes.
love the old Talladega logo, the new one is pretty cool.
I do
I
like
like it.
There was a middle ground. I think that would have been great, but the one they have is, I mean, it's good. I like it. I think it fits with everything else, which is important.
Brett.
Want to say hi to Steve. Thanks for watching the show every week. We appreciate it. Obviously, again, and then in like 15-ish minutes, we'll bring in Alex and Zack to talk some IndyCar with us. I know that they've. I love it. They
I
are.
was
The
like,
last show that they were on,
the
we
thing
actually
is-
lost it.
The thing is I was like, oh, that's such a nice comment, and then I saw who typed it and was like, that's funny. So he really is living up to the
Oh
reputation.
yeah. They're living up to the comment.
You got a lot of nerve, Alex.
Alex has a lot of nerve. I can follow through.
Oh man.
I love it. All right. Let's get into some news. We can breeze through this, talk through whatever we want. Obviously, if you have comments, opinions on the news, let us know in the comments and we'll bring it up as well. But starting off with Ryan Vargas, he announced that he is going to be racing full-time in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for 3F Racing with Critical Path Security as the sponsor. He competed in 4 races last season, and he did fairly well. He got 2 top 10s, so this is a great way for him to be able to do full-time, 14 different races. And he could be, according to the press release that came out, the first American to win a NASCAR Euro points-paying event. There already has been an American that's won a non-points-paying event, but so pretty cool for him. I think it's a great opportunity, and kind of gets the NASCAR vibe out there. So yeah, I don't know, excited for him. So there's could be some news there.
American Bobby Labonte?
No, I believe. Hold on.
Because I know
Ooh,
Bobby
Maya
Abani has raced
Snyder?
in that division. That might be it.
They
Which would be very funny.
Oh, go ahead. I'm trying to look for it. My bad. Hold on.
Rob, I gotta know what 20 car is that on top to your right?
This one?
Yes.
So I got a custom of John Hunter Nemechek's New Hampshire win.
Okay.
Because you can't see it in the frame, but I have a photo that I took.
I got you. I was trying to figure out, like, wow, that's a
it's
a custom.
Okay. I'm not gonna call out the custom guy because I don't think I'll order through him again, to be honest. Because he must have used an orange car. I don't know if he used Hemrick's cars or what, but you could, like, the orange seeps through. It's fine, it looks good, but like it's not somebody I would order through again. The only reason I didn't get it through T-Mac is because he said he didn't have the decals for it.
I love T-Mac though.
Gotcha. Yeah, T-Mac's the man.
T-Mac.
So,
I don't want to interrupt, but why is it so cold here? I can't. It's so
blame
cold.
California.
It's
blame
the desert.
California.
Okay, so, but the desert gets cold, but at night.
yeah.
So it is still weird, but like
It's like
The weather's been whack. I mean, because this time of year in Ohio, it's supposed to be like still like 20s, 30s, 40s. It was 70 2 days ago.
Don't believe the media, kids. It's freezing in Arizona.
It was 60. It was 60 in Massachusetts yesterday.
That's insane.
And it was like 45 today.
Well, see, Dom gets to experience something extremely weird though. Saturday into Sunday in Arizona, they do not spring forward with their clocks.
What?
That is correct.
It is.
They don't.
Is that already
this
time? Is that already this week?
Yeah,
Daylight
this
savings
weekend.
time is this weekend.
Oh, ridiculous.
But Arizona doesn't
does
change.
not do anything with their clocks. They stay the same. So for us people that do shift clocks, they'll be shifting from Mountain Time to Pacific Time.
That's so confusing.
That is correct.
Yep.
Yeah, we're 2 hours behind right now. It'll be 3 hours on Sunday.
Yep.
Well, that's annoying.
We'll deal with it. Anyway.
It's all made up anyway.
It is. It's all made up and the points don't matter.
I knew somebody would say it. I knew somebody would say it. I'm glad I'm among friends.
Welcome to the NASCAR Cup Series.
Honestly. Anywho, so the person that won the non-points paying event was Ben Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
So
Mr. Tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, only the
There we
guy
go.
that owns the sport.
Yeah, I was gonna say a good person to go win a Euro Series race. They look fun. I love those cars. The cars.
They're really cool cars.
They look like what I wish the next gen would look like. They're pretty consistent with like the Mexico series and the Canadian series.
Mm-hmm.
They look like next gen race cars, but the Euro series they're a little bit more like. They look more like a sports car almost.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they have like rear view mirrors, which is
They do.
like
Yeah.
outside rear view mirrors.
Yeah.
Which isn't something you typically see in a.
Yeah, they give you more of like a sports car vibe, but with like
Yeah.
a kind of next gen ish feel. Kind of, I guess.
I'm just bummed he's not running Fun Cup.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Fun Cup is, look it up. It's a bunch of Volkswagen Beetles. Racing, and it is the most fun thing I've ever seen in my life. As somebody who loves Volkswagen Beetles.
Okay, that's actually kind of cool. I kind of want to watch this now. Sweet.
It's fun. I wish they'd come to the States. They did once. I think they raced at Homestead.
Well, now I need to explore this because that's awesome. Let's move on to another piece of news, just because there's two opinion things I think the comment section will appreciate. So talking about the Clash in 2024, there is a rumor, an Adam Stern bombshell, that the Clash could go to the Dodgers Stadium in Southern California. The timeline is unclear as to when this could happen, if it's next year, the year after, whatever. But if you remember, at the beginning of the year, Steve Phelps did say that NASCAR would race in Southern California sometime in 2024, obviously with, Auto Club and things like that. So what are our thoughts about this?
Go back to Daytona. Next question.
All right.
No.
If you're going to go to another stadium, don't stay in LA. Go somewhere else. Maybe the complete opposite end of the country. Maybe They were right on one of the most historic ballparks in America, but maybe you go with the one that was built in 1912. Um, it rhymes with Benway Bark. I
Well,
don't know.
I wouldn't want to desecrate Fenway Park with a racetrack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look,
I have a fun one.
there are no other ways we're gonna get NASCAR to care about New England anymore. So
Rip.
Riddle me this: we can get Paul Menard out of retirement, and we'll run these cars on ice up in Canada somewhere.
Mm.
There's got to be a bull ring up there somewhere.
I am with Dom though. Why don't we just not?
Yeah,
Let's
I mean,
stop
most
being
of
a
the
dead
process
horse.
was
Let's go back.
Irwindale, but even
The
then,
only
like,
thing
that
the
will
only
work.
thing I'm kind of interested with, if that's actually going to be a thing, is the track configuration is kind of different, which I kind of vibe with. Like, I think it would be neat to see them go to like what would almost be considered like a triangle, like a diamond,
Baby Pocono.
like yeah. No, I wish, but
That'd actually be kind of cool.
Let's just run Pocono backwards.
Yeah.
And run through part of the infield through the campground with
Do
people
it.
camping.
Didn't they used to be a thing? Didn't they have that?
They actually, I think, actively do it with the is it with the Pennsylvania State Trooper Association
Oh, okay.
or something? Yeah, or they used to. I know.
Better, yeah.
Ago.
Let's run the New Hampshire road course.
Oh,
That's
you can get about one car to that.
It's a good but it's a good road course, but it's meant for like legend cars and
You're also
and like motorcycles. There's no way
also
you're gonna
praying for no snow in a February in New Hampshire.
That's fair.
But
That's a lot to ask for.
In turn, we can spend the money to make snow-built race cars.
Spiked Goodyear tires.
Let's throw everything at this weekend. Let's just do whatever everyone thought we wouldn't do. Let's just go to the New Hampshire road course. Let's use not even snow tires with the chains on them, like how you'd have to get a school bus out of a ditch. Just put chains all over the tires, or let's do snowmobile racing.
Let's do it.
We'll get Paul Menard out of retirement.
I thought that's what the Euro Series was going to do.
Right. Honestly.
Actually, yeah, that's fair. Whatever. So, overwhelming opinion is no to Dodger Stadium. Just
absolutely not.
No.
We're losing our minds.
Last piece of news I want to touch on before we kind of segue a little bit. Fourth OEM joining the sport. Those rumors are always circulating, right? But Jordan Bianchi on the teardown kind of, I don't want to say reignited them, but I guess reignited them, talking about how Honda is now in, I guess, serious talks with all of this. They're a front runner. The Cup Series doesn't desperately need a fourth manufacturer, but I mean, because there's a process that they have to go through. Jordan Bianchi basically saying, like, you've got to submit all the stuff to NASCAR. NASCAR has to approve it. Then you've got to do testing and everything like that. So this wouldn't be like a next year thing, but it's a potential. And also NASCAR has 4 charters that they set aside for something like this, I think, is what was said as well. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about Honda potentially being one of the OEMs, talking about teams that could shift, etc.? I don't know if there's any initial gut feelings.
Finally, I can enter my 08 Accord.
I was going to say, yeah, as a Honda owner, I'm pretty excited about this, but I know a lot of the very passionate NASCAR fans would say, if a new OEM is going to come into the sport, why can't it be like Chrysler or Dodge?
Fair.
One that, a historical OEM that's been around NASCAR for a while, bring one of them back. But Honda is a really, really cool one. I know Nissan was kind of thrown in the mix a couple of years ago, I remember. It was just considered, I didn't think anything was going to come of that, but Honda makes sense. Honda really makes sense because of, they have, obviously globally, but in America, they have a massive footprint in America. So it would bring in a lot of new fans if you had Honda Accords or Civics, whatever they choose. It would probably be the Accord racing against a Camaro, a Camry, especially. If you have an Accord versus a Camry, That's massive for the
Yeah.
sport. I think that's a huge battle that people would want to see.
For sure. No, I agree. I think that'd be cool. I mean, I'm excited
Adam
about it.
completely disagrees with my comments.
Yeah, Adam said bye.
he rage quit.
He said it's Nissan or nothing.
Yeah.
It's
That's it.
No, I think Honda, of all the possible OEMs to come in, Honda would be an awesome one.
Yeah. Alexander agrees in the comments. John said, I'd like having Honda as a NASCAR OEM. We own Hondas in my family. The question is which would be represented. I say the Accord. So yeah, I think the overwhelming opinion then is like,
Yeah,
it would
I
probably
think
be
the
an
Accord.
Accord. That makes sense.
Or it'd be the Civic Si.
I don't like the idea of a Honda Civic. I don't know.
I get that.
I mean,
That'll be
if
the
they go that
Xfinity
way,
car.
like fine.
The
but-
Xfinity car will be the Civic.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be mad about that. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Just throwing some options in the pot. That's all.
That's okay. It's fine. It's good to have options. Talk through them. It's fine. It's good. So, I don't know. Just some news, rumors. It was mostly like a rumor news type of week, to be honest with you all. I know we had some driver announcements, different drivers in different places, like the Ryan Vargas announcement. Also, we have Ed Jones going to race some for Sam Hunt Racing. That's another announcement at the road courses. One of IndyCar driver has done IndyCar. So stuff like that. I guess that segues us into our IndyCar conversation as everyone decides to take breaks.
Am I still here?
You're still here.
Okay, good.
You're good. You're good.
I'll
I think
hang in for a little bit. I'll hang in for a little longer. I'll get you to the transition.
we're at the transition right now. I mean, I guess as
good.
2 crew members go on out, we're bringing 2 honorary crew members on into the conversation. So joining the show now, we have Zach and Alex from the Gay Racing Podcast to talk some IndyCar with us.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Long time no see, kind of.
I
know
cannot
we love
believe
the
you let
show.
us back.
I had to. I loved our time so much last time.
Zach nearly killed Ben last time. What
did.
are you doing?
Sorry, I left. My college wanted money,
That's okay.
but I didn't know who was calling me.
That's all right. Those darn colleges. Dang.
Didn't I give you enough 4 years?
Pretty much. It's always a conversation. I see we're wearing our IndyCar gear. Is this all Joseph Newgarden?
Yes.
I love it.
Represent.
Okay, cool.
go.
We're unbiased, but we're biased here at the same time. FYI, everybody.
Always. I mean, look at my background. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Look at your handle. Look
at
at your handle.
Drop the Y and put an R there, and come on. It's plain as
There you
day.
go. There you go. Well, I know both of you all, you talked about IndyCar and, this past race at Las Vegas on your show, Gay Racing Podcast. But for us that are more NASCAR-centric here, can you kind of fill us in on the IndyCar season and what are you guys looking forward to this year? Like what are the storylines? What are the big pieces of information? You guys can ramble for 30 minutes about this because I know there's probably a lot, but fill us in. What are you looking forward to? What did we miss out on the off season?
So I think the biggest story going into this IndyCar season is Andretti Autosport, honestly. They just had their whole F1 debacle happen. They got rejected from all that.
Oh, yeah.
But they have downsized. They got rid of the 29 car, which has always been slow, whether it's James Hinchcliffe driving it or Devlin DiFrancesco. That car's gone. They're
Yeah.
still running a 4th at the Indy 500 with Marco Andretti. But Andretti, they brought in Marcus Ericsson from Ganassi, and they have Kyle Kirkwood and Colton Herta. And with downsizing, I think they're going to be a lot more of a powerhouse again, which they haven't really been in about a decade. And if we're going to make predictions and stuff, we can talk about Colton Herta. As I had a lot to say on the Grid Network show the other night, and I got into a heated debate over there. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think Andretti's going to be one to watch. I think Kyle Kirkwood's going to be a championship contender. I think Marcus Ericsson's going to be a championship contender. But then you also have to look at Team Penske because they were really only relevant on the oval, specifically Joseph Newgarden.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know and you say championship season for Newgarden, I'm not so confident in that because the performance wasn't really there outside of the ovals.
Well, Alex, you also have to consider, though, there are 2 more oval races on the schedule this season with them adding added 2 races at Milwaukee. Of course, Nashville Super Speedway is the new season's finale. We took Texas off, but still 2 more ovals, net gain, and a lot of them are near the end of the season. So I think it really depends on how Joseph and Team Penske in general open the season on all the road courses and street courses, because that is their weakness. That was their weakness, Joseph especially last year. Like, he got so outplaced by Palou and all the Ganassi guys to where he wasn't really in conversation of the championship come August and September. But now in August and September, there's like 4 or 5 oval races where Joseph, obviously, I mean, he's winning like 80% of oval races in the last like few years. So he's going to be, it could set up for an interesting story as long as they can get through these first few months with what we expect from Team Penske. Penske perfect.
So basically, all they need to do is not let Alex Palou get like 100-point gap again. That's basically all Joseph specifically, I think, needs to do.
And not qualify 14th, because he does that.
Yeah, that too. That's the biggest part. Joseph is awful at qualifying.
He's washed.
The past 2 years. That's why Zach calls him washed all the time.
He is.
Like,
he just forgets how to qualify. I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
well, my question with Penske,
I think what Team Penske needs is for Scott McLaughlin to not have a DHL car to his left side and a right-hander at St. Petersburg. I think that's the best way for them to start their season.
I got some bad news for you. Who's driving a DHL car this year?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it only gets
you're going to see that DHL car at the front a lot.
Yeah,
a lot more. Actually win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that thing hasn't seen victory lane since like 2018,
which is a bummer.
Remember when Ryan
that car's beautiful.
A long time ago.
I love that car. That's why I became a Ryan Hunter Ray fan.
Yeah.
Taylor, you were going to ask them about Penske. What was it?
Yeah, I mean, with Penske, because my whole thing is like trying to go through all the changes in the offseason. I feel like the only team that stayed the same is Penske. So would you expect there to be an advantage there since everyone else kind of had some major shifts?
It's possible for sure, but I have a theory that they put a lot of their effort into Indy last year because Roger was sick of not winning it. And Joseph had reached a point where I think it was his 11th attempt. It was just like, okay, we really got to win this race. We're going to put all of our effort into oval basket. And that's just a theory. It might be nothing, but like it was obviously very noticeable how much different they performed on the road and street versus the ovals. But I mean, yeah, they definitely have a personnel advantage over everyone else because they don't have to learn and build all these new relationships like over at Andretti will with Marcus Ericsson, for example.
And they have 3 very seasoned drivers. I mean, Scott McLaughlin, this is his 4th season in IndyCar at this point. Like he knows what he's doing at this point. And I kind of expect him to get multiple, or I would hope to expect it for him to get multiple wins this year, but
I hope
we'll
so.
see.
Yeah.
What are we feeling and vibing with Will Power this season? Were you going to be kind of the outcast, or are we going to be back like our showman?
Zach had a reaction to that.
Well, because like his 2022 championship felt so like
forgetful.
It doesn't stick in my mind.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
That
was a bizarre year.
I even forgot he won the championship.
That was consistency. It was all about consistency.
There.
And
definitely.
Power himself said like he just accepted that he cannot win every race, and that's why he was able to rack up a whole bunch of podiums, top 5s. He wasn't trying to win every single race because he understood that wasn't a realistic opportunity. And that is something Colton Herta could learn from Will Power.
Ooh, definitely.
Facts.
I think Colton tries way too hard. He outdrives his car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I became a fan of Colton Herta, even though he lost it. I became a fan of Colton in Nashville. That race when he was trying to chase down the leader and just how hard he was driving that race car. I know it ended in a crash, but like it was just so awesome to see a guy literally get everything and more out of his car. Like that's what made me a really big fan of Colton.
He's fun to watch. He's like, I don't know. Any of those like most popular drivers, I don't know. They're just
and that wasn't it him that
they're not what you want them to be, I guess.
Didn't he have like the drift at the Indy road course in the rain?
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that.
Power slide.
That was insane. That was absolutely insane.
He also took flight at Iowa a few years ago.
Oh God, yeah.
That was
Oh,
Like-
I do remember that.
Like that was close to.
I was on the
being
front
a-
stretch.
Was that one
He's
of the
got-
He was
He's
in
got
the,
a person?
he was in the
Oh,
Steinbrenner
man.
car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steinbrenner car.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Another
I
question-
went to the second race that weekend.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
you did?
Yeah, I didn't go to the first one. Colton went airborne, but I went to the race 2, which Joseph Newgarden won.
We love to see it.
When does he not win at Iowa?
When does he not win when Alex is in attendance?
That's what I was about to say. Alex,
Fair.
Alex has seen so many, if not Joseph, Team Penske victories.
Joseph
That's
Newgarden
good,
has
though.
won 46% of IndyCar races I have attended,
the
including
good
ones he
luck
wasn't
charm.
in attendance.
Wow.
Including
Good
that, like
grief.
46% includes races Joseph wasn't even racing in.
Wow. Wow.
What?
Good grief.
That's impressive.
Oh, you mean like the NASCAR races you've been to? What?
No, I'm talking about all IndyCar races, including the ones from like 2009 when Joseph wasn't in the field yet.
The Ryan Briscoe days.
And you went to those races?
Yeah.
Okay. I was very confused.
Clearing the air.
I'm like 9-year-old Alex? Okay.
Yeah, like Kansas.
Okay, that makes more sense. Sorry.
Which, by the way, if they ever go to
Shout out
Kansas,
Kansas
Joseph
Speedway.
Newgarden's win that too.
Fair.
I
Oh,
wish
Lord.
IndyCar would go back to Kansas. That would be a
Oh, I
hell of a
That'd be
race.
fire.
Or like
Yeah.
any oval.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
that's why like I popped off way too hard when they made the announcement that Nashville
I
Super
was
Speedway
pumped.
was coming on the schedule.
I was
Because I
hyped.
mean, anytime the schedule comes up on our podcast, I'm just like ovals, ovals, ovals. Not just any oval either. You know, Milwaukee is cool, it's great, but we need more speedways. It's called the IndyCar Series. It's about the Indianapolis 500, where these open wheel cars are going way too fast, ridiculous speeds, and it was looking this year that the Indy 500 was going to be the only race with the Speedway Aero package, and that just doesn't sit right with me. It's weird. Like I want diversity in Nashville. At least it's somewhat of a speedway. I'm glad it's on the schedule. So
Can I pose a question to our IndyCar experts? If you could add 3 ovals to the schedule right now, what would they be?
oh, that's a good question.
Just
Homestead,
3.
Homestead, Richmond,
Oh,
and
I agree with
I
those
want to say New Hampshire, but then it's like we'd have 3 tracks
No,
for like Milwaukee,
speedways.
Gateway, New Hampshire.
Stop.
So if you want to say
Speedways.
speedways,
I'm only adding Richmond because
You're
it's my home
breaking my
track.
heart.
I kind
You
of
know
want
what
to
I
say
want back?
Pocono.
I
but
want Pocono back. I don't care. Y'all can hate me.
Yes.
I don't
That
care.
might
Y'all
be a
can
hot
at me.
take.
I don't care.
I
Pocono.
agree.
Add Pocono. I
Be a
don't care.
speedway.
no Michigan?
Michigan
Yes,
would be
let's
cool
do
too. I
Michigan.
forgot about
the
Michigan.
US 500. Let's do it.
So if you want
really?
3
Montana?
speedways, take out Richmond. But Montana's dead.
Can we bring back tracks from the? I was gonna say,
Tuesday.
can we bring back tracks from the
That
dead?
was one of the greatest races. Like every year put on
Just
classic.
the season ending at Fontana was just there was something
The
about it.
vibes. The vibes were
Yeah,
immaculate.
there were good
Yeah.
vibes with it. Those races ended way too late though. for people on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember being up until like 1 a.m. watching the end of those races.
I wish they would
Worth it,
resurrect the
though.
Chicagoland Speedway for IndyCar. Those were some of the greatest
Yeah.
finishes.
Or
Like,
Kentucky.
Don't we all?
yeah.
See, Kentucky's
I mean,
another one. That track's sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. Like
They
in
could
terms
fuck
of
it
like
lot
track,
now.
because the issue is like NASCAR. Apparently, NASCAR's not like NASCAR sanctioned tracks are not really like.
Well, Kentucky's
really-
SMI, so they could. do
yeah,
that.
exactly. So it's like anytime you're looking at ovals, you need
Right,
to look
right,
at
right.
SMI tracks. Like that's why like Richmond's not really happening. Homestead's
Homestead
not
won't
going to
work.
happen.
They have been testing at Homestead this year. Preseason testing, a lot of it's been at Homestead.
Really.
On the road course, to clarify.
Oh.
Apparently, they have a Roval at Homestead. So
They
I
do.
look forward to that
That's
in
right. They have a
NASCAR in
couple.
2029. But
Oh God.
I'm kidding.
Oh God, no.
Is that where the class is happening?
Charlotte's bad enough.
Oh my
Hey,
God, y'all are
okay,
haters.
hold on.
Now, Rob,
Roval's
Y'all are
nice.
haters.
Hold up.
The Roval's great. Y'all are just haters.
Yeah.
I'd like to see
love
IndyCar on the
Roval.
Roval. Not even gonna lie.
I just
So-
missed the Bank of America 500. I miss
Good.
those pink cars at night. And
Okay,
I
wait,
just,
no,
I
you're
miss it,
spitting.
man.
You're
That's
Thursday
no,
I
night
am-
qualifying.
I am-
You're right. Thursday night
I'm
qualifying.
that
Oh my
Thursday
God.
night
Oh,
qualifying.
yes.
Oh my!
Yes. No, you're
But-
right. I take it back. The Roval can die.
When I came,
The
I
jungle
came home
cold
from
night
work,
numb.
so I came home from work last Friday, and turned on the TV to find Xfinity qualifying on single car qualifying on a Friday night,
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh my god,
I'm a kid again.
I feel like I'm healing."
Yes.
The last
Almost right with the
point
world.
the last point I'll make before I go, because I do have to go, unfortunately, is I think the reason why it would be great for the Roval to go now is because of how great the 600 has been the last 2 years
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the new car. I think that alone should make them entertain bringing the Bank of America 500 back. That's my last point. I'm going to go
But then
now.
it makes the 600 more special, is my argument.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's also true.
That's
very
what
fair.
they were saying on why they kept the Roval, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone do yourself a favor. Tune into the Shriners Children's 500 this weekend. Taylor is going to do a great job explaining my top 10 later on in the show. I trust her. I gave her all my notes.
I have
So
notes.
if she messes it up, it's not my fault.
the
But
notes.
Thanks.
to the Gay Racing Podcast, let's have a great IndyCar year this year. I'm so pumped for it.
Hell yeah.
I'm
Let's do it.
I'm bummed I'm going to miss it because of Cup working this weekend, but I can't wait for the season. It's more racing on the schedule, and it makes up for some other open wheel racing that's just driving around very expensive racetracks now. It's not actually racing.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. So
Mhm.
let's just have a good year of racing in IndyCar.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait. We've got the black
Do
and
it.
white Verizon car back. It's
Yes.
the old
Oh
Will
yes,
Power.
it's like it's such a throwback.
We've got the old Will Power back. He's going to win pole at every street course. So let's have a good year.
Go back to Sao Paulo.
Bye,
Bye.
kids.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye, Tom.
Did you say
Bye.
Sao Paulo? Oh my
Yeah, let's go
god.
back.
I remember
Let's go
watching that
back.
race.
I
when I was
was at-
10.
I
It was
remember the
raining.
race. I remember the race with Hinchcliffe and Takuma Sato. That last turn pass.
Mhm.
Mm.
Good
That was a good
times.
race.
That are at Baltimore Street Circuit where you were launching over the light rail system.
Yeah, I went to the first one. Didn't go
And-
back because the racing there wasn't great.
You know, to kind of jump off the Will Power comments here, and then Adam, you brought Will Power up earlier, and then I brought up Colton Herta. To go back to Will Power, though, I think he's going to have a solid season. I don't see anything changing for him. I think he's going to end his winless streak this year. He didn't win it all last year for the very first time. So,
Mhm.
and that was a big story last year, that Scott Dixon, Will Power hadn't won a race for the first time that whole season. And Scott Dixon ended the season with like 3 or something wins because he's Scott Dixon.
He
But-
won 3 of the
Yes.
last 4. I have it.
Yeah.
I have it here because I couldn't remember who was winning last year.
Yeah, the latter half of last year kind of got
I kinda
boring,
tuned out.
unfortunately.
I
same.
kind of tuned out. I was like,
I mean,
mean,
that's why
Alex
NASCAR has
Lowe had
playoffs,
championship,
right?
so-
But
Yeah.
IndyCar
Nervous
is all
laughter.
about consistency, especially after the 500.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's interesting though that Scott Dixon, all 3 of his wins came from starting outside the top 10.
that is interesting.
Strategy.
he doesn't qualify up front as often anymore. That's
Except
been
for
his
Indy.
kind of Achilles heel lately. Yeah, except for Indy.
He's getting too old for qualifying.
Dang.
Does
Never
mean
call that
Joseph's
man
getting
too old.
Zach?
I said qualifying. He's not too old to win races, but he's too old to be like, I'm focused. Like, I don't know.
Just hold it wide open for 2 laps. Now I'm more of a 200 lap guy. Come on, man. I'm just getting warmed up.
He's gonna take
Gotta
his time
strip-
on Sunday.
Yeah, you gotta stretch out the focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hyped for
So-
IndyCar too. I am.
Yeah,
Taylor, wasn't there a comment earlier asking about McLaren? Is that where you want to go next?
Yeah.
'Cause that's an interesting.
McLaren.
team.
There's
Because
lot
I
to
mean,
talk
they have a
about.
younger group, kind of, you know. So
Mhm.
it just, how do we feel they're gonna do?
Well,
They went winless last year,
which is
and that's not good.
No.
And that is a team you kind of expect. They've kind of made themselves a part of the new big 3, replacing Andretti, right? But now
Right.
they're kind of just alongside Andretti. They kind of fell off a little bit.
exactly.
So they need to win. And I mean, Pato Award, he's obviously their flagship driver at this point. I think Pato's more than capable. He finished podiums so many times last year. I feel like the start of the season, he finished second several times. He nearly lapped the whole field at Texas. Like, obviously, Pato can do it. He just had some things not quite go his way. He almost won the Indy 500 too. But it's the other 2 Alex Rossi, I think Alex Rossi needs to perform this year. He gets replaced by Callum Ilott.
Oh my
I
god,
personally
he's so
believe
Okay.
that. Because Rossi, I believe his contract ends after this year, just hasn't done much of anything since
Since COVID.
2019.
Since
Before the
COVID,
pandemic.
like
Yeah.
where has he been? It's
Has
so
he won
weird.
since then? Or he had
He
that one
won
win. He had one
Yeah.
win at
One win at
Indy.
IMS
Yeah.
Road Course.
Oh,
And I
wow.
remember he
Okay.
dominated like one of the, I think the late season race at St. Pete during the COVID year. He dominated, but then he like wrecked or something. I don't remember.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, like again, those are the only Alexander Rossi moments that I really remember. Otherwise, it's like maybe he's in the Indy 500 and something happens on pit road, and then he can't make up the track position. Like that's happened a lot. But otherwise, I have I just don't know what's going on with him. He's
But
like
to be
a
fair, when
completely
he was
different driver.
when he was competing at Indy, that was when Andretti was competing at Indy.
Yeah.
So
He's an interesting
Very
driver
true.
just to look at his career overall. He kind of lucked into his first win and then became, oh, this is going to be the guy. And he never quite got there. He was always just there. And now it's like he's almost like falling off the face of the earth.
He immediately became a championship contender. Like he won the 500, and all of a sudden
His
he's like top
performance
5 in
was
points.
impressive.
And then he just fell off a cliff. Like it's very weird. And I guess it was just good timing because Andretti was really good at the time.
Yeah.
Because
you think if he has a subpar, if not under par performance this season, he's out of IndyCar totally?
I don't know about that, but I think he's out at McLaren. If indeed his contract is up at the end of the year, I think they'd be kind of silly to let Callum Ilott just kind of sit there. And they've Ilott in for Malukas this weekend. And because what the rumor is that McLaren was eyeing both Ilott and Malukas, but Juncos had kept saying, hey, they had said we were going to keep Callum Ilott. But then they held on to Ilott for a long, long time. And Callum Ilott was telling me I plan on being back next year. And then very, very late, they dropped Callum Ilott. So I think Callum Ilott was going to be at McLaren this year before Malukas, if Juncos Hollinger didn't restrain him, basically. And now Callum's full-time in WEC this year. But and as you saw, McLaren, they pick up Callum Ilott to replace Malukas this weekend. So that's something to follow if Rossi doesn't perform this year, I really think. And then you talk about David Malukas. I don't know if he's going to be competitive either, because now he's going to be a whole race behind. He's losing basically a whole month if he doesn't race thermal as well on the 24th. And I don't know. I think he's going to be behind. And I think the only race I could see him actually winning is Gateway, because he's consistently been really good there with Coyne. I feel like Malukas also, I don't know. So McLaren, I think their only shot truly is Pato, but then Rossi's a wild card.
Yeah, Pato's still got some stuff to work on as a driver. I feel like he's just something missing. Like he's not A tier yet, and neither is McLaren. The whole team. I mean, again, they came in and merged with Peters. What was the team called before?
Schmidt Peterson.
Peterson, and they kind of established themselves as like an A team, and they had really good performance. And Pato started winning a few races, but I mean, you can't go a season without winning. Like Ganassi doesn't do that. Penske doesn't do that. Like, come on.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on running the thermal club?
It doesn't like
is it like an all-star race or why?
It doesn't get me like yay IndyCar. Like it doesn't make me excited. Like
I find it. Sorry, Alex, go ahead.
I don't know who that race is for, and I don't understand the point of it. Because on one hand, I've seen some people say that it's to try and attract sponsorship to get into the series, because like a lot of wealthy people live at Thermal and have connections to people at Thermal. But then it's like, why should any fan care? Honestly. So then it's an all-star race, which that's basically what it is. I don't know if they're really calling it that, but that's what it is. And it's an exhibition race.
It sounds
and it's like this is already a short schedule. They need another points race. If it was a points race, I'd be like, oh, okay.
I think it would be interesting to add like a point incentive.
Yeah.
But it's only for the winner. if you win the race, you get like
That would be cool.
25 points or something. Maybe 25 is too much. But like 10, 15.
Oh, I got one.
Because I'm over the exhibition races. Like NASCAR had.
Yeah, like even NASCAR, I don't really.
Yeah.
The only reason I care about the duels is because
They
you
they
get
at
points
least
in the
reward
duels.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The All-Star race, I couldn't care less about. The Clash, I couldn't care less about.
Yeah.
Because
Because every
you're gonna
race in
build up the-
NASCAR, every race is an all-star race at this point with like stages and
Yeah.
stuff and like the
Yeah.
excitement.
It's lost
And,
its
like,
luster, really.
Yeah, and with
Yeah.
IndyCar,
Like, nobody-
I kind of expect the same thing. Like every race should be exciting and this big deal, and it's like, why are you taking all the stakes away?
Yeah.
Well, especially with a full season point system like IndyCar has. Like, why wouldn't you
Yep.
add another step to that?
Like just make
culmination.
it an 18 race schedule.
Yeah.
Like
17's already too few. Like
Yeah, I think 20 would be a great number for them to
20 is a
eventually
good
go to.
20 to 23 is a good number for any racing division. I don't
That's
think you
more
should
oval.
exceed.
But
Yeah,
I just want to say
exactly.
also with thermal, it's just like sometimes IndyCar fans can feel like the sky is falling, right? And there's a bit of like doomsday going on in IndyCar because there's rumors that Honda might be leaving in a couple of years, potentially to go to NASCAR, it sounds like. And there's just all this chaos. People aren't happy with Penske Entertainment, the way they're running things. And then they have a new TV rights agreement coming up for next year. Like there's just a lot of chaos going on. And their priority, or one of their priorities, was to add a race at the Thermal Club or whatever. It's just like, seriously?
It feels off.
Seriously. And when it was first announced, they said their framing of the announcement was, hey, we're going to add a race into the huge gap and Texas. Guess what? Texas is gone. They didn't know that at the time. It's not IndyCar's fault. It's NASCAR's. But it's just like that just took any interest I had for thermal out. So I was just like, well, now what's the point of it? That was one of their core reasonings for making this announcement that day.
You'd almost rather them just say, okay, we're gonna make this a points race. Like that
honestly,
very well could have just
Mhm.
Why
been
not?
what they did. I don't think there's any I feel like you can throw precedent out the window. I don't think there needs to be precedent with something like that.
Yeah, you can have a weird format and still reward points if you ask me. Like
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
think
make it half points or something. Like I'd be fine with that if you want to do something weird with it.
I mean, and you could
But just
definitely
make it
reward points. I think my thing too is like I think about with IndyCar is there feels like there's something that's always lacking with IndyCar, which is like making it to where it's impossible for it to reach like the next level in terms of like recognition, like whatever. Like, what do you guys feel is missing, or like what was something that you would change? I know marketing's probably one of those things, but it's like how do you take IndyCar out of that? Just like, oh yeah, IndyCar, cool, to like IndyCar, like let's go. You know what I mean?
Not just market the Indy 500.
True.
Mm-hmm.
That is basic. That when you hear about IndyCar, people call it Indy, right? But the core IndyCar fans think of the Indianapolis 500 when you say Indy. If you're not a diehard IndyCar fan, when you hear Indy, you think of what? IndyCar. You don't really think of just IMS. So it's like they really need to broaden it and say Indy is all of it, the entire series. We are St. Pete, we are Long Beach, we are all of our ovals, we're Iowa, we're Gateway, and they're doing. Iowa's been.
That'd be cool.
Iowa's been pretty good.
Impressive.
It's like the I am NASCAR campaign, but I am St. Pete. I am Long Beach.
Like
that.
Like something like that. Like I'm not saying exactly that, but like
no, but that'd be funny though.
Yeah.
Long Beach car, St. Pete car.
I have the Milwaukee Mile car.
Well, and
a mile long.
I think they need to just market better is right, but go to other markets. I feel like the markets they go to are very weird. Like you go to Birmingham, Alabama.
I was about to say Barber.
Yeah.
Which I'm
Barber's
not sure.
The most random track. I love Barber, but it's such a random.
Yeah, I like the
location.
track, and I love just like the track itself. I love the art that surrounds it. It's a really cool place to host a race, and I don't think that's one of the tracks to get rid of, but I think
Right.
supplement that with something else. Whether you go back to Coda,
Yes.
or
That'd be awesome.
Phoenix.
take Phoenix, something that has more of a hub. I get Detroit, although I'm somebody that thinks they should have never left Belle Isle. I thoroughly enjoyed that track, and I loved the fountain tradition. I think things like that really kind of hold a lot of weight, but that's just me. But expand and again, I'm biased when I say this, but expand it to the Northeast.
I think
Go back
that's
to
that needs to be a higher priority than it
Yeah.
obviously is. Like Watkins
Because
Glen
it's-
is up there, New
Yeah.
Hampshire's up there, Pocono is up there. Like they have options.
Yeah.
or
Might
even
I
like a street
recommend
race. Like you
Dover?
can do a street race somewhere. I
I don't know.
I don't know how
if
they-
Dover would work.
I don't know how they run
now,
it Dover.
Dover used to
Probably
be
fine.
on the old schedule back in, I think it was the 80s.
Yeah,
Oh.
they'll be fine. They'll figure it
Oh,
out. They'll be
yeah.
all right.
I'm
Like,
just
easily
imagining
do that.
them launching off into the Concrete Canyon.
It would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what IndyCar could do revolves around their schedule in so many ways. The consistency, like how we will go 3 weeks off, race, 3 weeks off, like that. F1 doesn't do that. NASCAR doesn't do that. Like you can't do that if you want people to be engaged
Right.
with your sport.
Yeah, and to be fair, F1 still only has 23 races on their schedule. So when they take breaks, they take breaks. They literally have a summer break. And I think
And the reason people say F1 schedule is too long is because they go across the globe.
Yes.
IndyCar is just the North America. Like
Mhm.
they could go up to 2023, and it would still be
Yeah,
fine
like
for the
add
teams,
more
I think.
ovals, bring that oval identity back, the speedway identity, which would maybe attract more NASCAR fans to watch IndyCar, because
Mhm.
that's the only
Yeah.
reason I watched it when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
this is cool. It's like NASCAR, right? I mean,
like,
it's dumb, but
Yep.
I literally got into it because I was a Dario Franchitti fan, and he went back to IndyCar.
Really? That's so interesting.
that is
Yeah.
weird, but cool.
Well, in NASCAR, I loved Ganassi.
Oh, fair.
Okay.
Like I was a Reed
Yeah.
Sorensen fan. I liked Juan Pablo Montoya.
That's even
all
weirder.
those guys from like the
Reed
2000s.
Sorensen.
I liked
I
the
was
Target
a
car,
Hornch,
which
right?
is why
Okay, no, that's not weird.
Yeah.
which is why I became a Dario Franchitti fan. It's because he also drove
Gotcha.
the Target car.
I have a bunch of Target
Um,
cars in my Kyle Larson thing, so I get it.
The Target cars are gold.
awesome.
I love them.
Come back, please.
Well,
The PNC
going
car's
on
fine,
to preview a little bit, like who do you think could win St. Pete? Like who do you have as your winning picks? Or do you
Well,
want to announce those yet? Or do you want
Actually, well, so we did picks on the podcast, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and do mine first, and then Alex can do his. So I picked Alex Palou because I have a brain.
right?
Bro did not finish
Yeah.
outside the top 10 last year. It won like what, 5 races? Or was it
Mhm.
7? It was 5
I
races.
think it was 4 or 5. Yeah.
Dominated the championship, especially again at the street and road courses. How do you not pick this guy? I just don't know how you don't pick him, to be honest. And then
So
Alex, who did you pick?
I was a kind, loving friend and let Zach have Alex Palou because we cannot pick the same driver. He
Mhm.
got his butt kicked last year in fantasy. I think he had like 4 points and I had like 20 something. Like it's fine in IndyCar fantasy. So I was nice. I let him get Palou. It was really bad. I don't think he had a point for like half the year.
Oh, God.
But I picked Scott McLaughlin because
I
he's
love
won
that.
this race before. I think he just gets better and better every year he's full time in IndyCar. And honestly, Zach, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Palou and McLaughlin going at it, and we'd have McLaughlin going up against a DHL car again. So I mean,
But this time the DHL car is not going to wreck himself because it's Alex.
Which means
Palou.
which
Yeah.
means whoever's in third is going to win.
Probably
Dang.
Scott Nixon.
I've been meaning to ask you guys this, but
Dixon
like, what are
comes
your
out of
thoughts? What are your thoughts on Grosjean?
Oh,
Ooh. I have a different opinion from other people. So,
Oh.
Zach, do you want to?
let me go. I don't know how you can have a positive opinion on this guy when he's had like 0.
I just feel bad for him.
It depends how you define success, but like the stats don't lie. He hasn't won in like years in whatever he's doing. And F1's different. I don't expect you to
was
win
all in on him in 2020. Like, I'll be honest, in 2021, I was all in on him.
Yeah.
Me.
And Alex,
Yeah.
I think I know Alex's opinion because he talked about it on our little bonus video where he was like kind of putting all the IndyCar drivers in a tier list. So Alex, what's your kind of theory on what's happening to Grosjean?
So Grosjean does better when he's at small teams. That's my whole thing with him.
Yeah,
He does better when there's little to no pressure. He does better when you're not expected to win, which he probably never was in F1, right? So when he went to Andretti, he left Coin to go to Andretti. The pressure just got so immense that he was just overdriving. And we saw him put himself in position to potentially win some races, but then he would wreck himself out. But we saw when he was at Coin, he was driving the hell out of those cars, like way more than they probably actually could do with, let's say, a normal driver, right? And Romain Grosjean's a very aggressive driver, and I think he has talent. He has a lot of talent, but he just doesn't know how to do it without overdriving when there's a bunch of pressure. Like, I think of his drive at Laguna Seca, his last race with Coin. He was on a mission. Like, I think he got up to third in that race, and he was coming from way back at one point. So he's going to be in the 77 at Juncos Hollinger, replacing Cal Milot this year. That is a smaller team in the IndyCar series. I think he's going to be really, really good. I don't know if he will win a race. I mean, if you want to be bold, I would say he can for sure. But I think he's going to be a lot better than he was in the 28, like at least consistency-wise.
Yeah.
100%.
It's really
podium?
easy. Oh, go ahead.
Is he going to get a podium, do you think?
Yeah, he will.
Okay. Just kind of like wins a lot, like especially with the parity, but like
Right. Yeah.
yeah. I just think about the IMS road course and how good he is there.
Yep. That's what I think.
How good he was there. Yeah.
I think it's so easy, and it's really funny how I feel like one of the most common critiques of a driver from someone who's not a driver like us is like they're really good and fast, but they wreck too much or they make too many mistakes. When driving a race car is incredibly difficult. It's so easy to make a mistake in a race car.
They're split-second decisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's where it's like, it's so funny for us to say Romain Grosjean and Colton Herta and Noah Gragson or whoever else, and Kyle Larson at one point. They're so good, but they just make too many mistakes. And as soon as they stop doing that, they'll be a great driver. It's funny for us to say it, but there's still a reason people say it, because the greatest race car drivers are the ones who are able to be fast without making mistakes, because they're not human, right? Like Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, and Kyle Larson now. Like Sunday, Kyle Larson, right? Like he didn't make a mistake, right? Or Scott Dixon, Alex below last year.
It's been fun to watch Zach on Twitter defend Kyle Larson. Which I'm all about it, because I agree. Like I feel like people like are
haters.
they're trying way too hard to be contrarians. Where like I'm not a Kyle Larson fan, but I'm also like he is.
You respect the talent.
The best driver. He is the best driver in NASCAR. Like and he's fun, and he is fun to watch. Like, do I get tired of seeing him win? Sure, but like, I'm not.
But then people going like, I miss Jimmy Johnson. I miss Jimmy Johnson. I miss the Jimmy Johnson era. Shut up. You're in a Jimmy Johnson era right now. Like, come on.
I love Jimmy Johnson, but the way he drove was boring.
That's true though. Jimmy was more boring.
He was vanilla.
Jimmy
drove are still nostalgic about it. People are so nostalgic about Jimmy. Like. But like
hopefully
Kyle
Matt
Larson,
not in
no.
the chat.
At least it's not like watching Martin Truex Jr. win a race. Those are epically boring races.
And I love Martin, but I agree with
Sorry,
you. It's
Ben.
so boring.
Yeah.
I've never watched Martin. William Byron has the same energy, by the way.
He does.
Yes,
Thank
he does.
you. I'm glad someone agrees.
Yeah.
They win, and I'm just like, all right, well, randomly
you don't
generated
feel
NASCAR
anything when they
drivers.
All
win.
that for a Byron win.
Yeah.
All that for a Byron.
That's what I say.
That's how I thought up to Daytona. Literally.
That's what
We
I
literally,
say. Like,
we
really?
have it saved in our chat. It's like, wow, all that for
All
a
that
Byron
for a Byron
win.
win.
Remember
Last year,
we used to
same
say
thing
that-
happened so many times.
Remember we used to say all that for a Denny Hamlin win, and now Denny Hamlin wins are like the most exciting.
We love
Yes.
Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
We do.
William can change the narrative. He can change the narrative.
He
They
can.
have a little bit of a bad boy
He just needs a
image.
big-
All he's got to do is dump his teammate. All he's got to do is dump somebody.
Oh, true.
Nope, face.
So I was
Kyle.
gonna say when Zach was talking about Grosjean and his driving style, and he compared it to some NASCAR drivers, it reminded me of another NASCAR driver who, crashes a lot or gets into other people, drives over his head, and then gets emotional about it.
Ross.
Ooh.
Oh, ooh.
I was gonna say Carson Hocevar,
I was
but
thinking
also
Hocevar.
Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
Ross Chastain as well.
Oh
is
wait,
also like
when you
Roman
say
Grosjean.
emotional, because that's not
Yeah.
really Ross. He doesn't really get emotional, but yeah, Carson
Carson.
does get really emotional. Which
Could
Yeah.
be
don't
I
mind.
gotta say
That's
this.
my
I gotta say this though. You guys weren't here for this last year, but so you guys might not know this about me. You guys follow me on Twitter, so you probably do know this about me. But I was in theater for over a decade, throughout high school, throughout college. Like I studied vocal performance. Like I studied opera.
He's a
So,
really
like-
good singer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
He is.
Legit.
I've been around the block of
Oh,
and I've
yeah.
seen a lot of acting. So Carson Hocevar in his car at Phoenix last year was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. Homie was trying so hard to look like he felt bad, which he probably did, but he knew exactly what he did. He knew exactly what he did. He raced too hard with 40 to go. Anyway, that's my review of Carson Hocevar's performance. 0 stars.
I mean,
You know what?
I agree with you,
I'll be
Alex,
generous.
though.
1 star. 1 star.
One
Does he get a
star?
Razzie Award, Rob?
Yes.
No.
Oh, he
gets
doesn't even get a
nothing.
Razzie. Wow, it's
He
that
gets,
bad.
He gets nothing. He loses.
God.
Good day, sir.
Let me preface it, or I guess follow this up with I love Carson Hocevar. It's all for fun.
Right. Yeah. And he performed
But
great this past weekend at Phoenix. So,
He
I
did.
mean,
Yeah,
he's
Las
learning.
Vegas.
Vegas.
But you see my comparison though, that Grosjean is kind of like Chastain and Hocevar. It takes a while. It's going to take a while for him to get that win
Yeah.
because he's just over driving. I think he cares
Well,
a lot.
like you said, I think a lot of it's mental too. It's you
Yep.
keep hitting these roadblocks and you're like, oh, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to get a win. And you get caught up in that funk. Or when you get so close to a win and you're like, oh, this, like it could get messed up.
Yep.
And then it does. And then you start self-doubting and then you get too anxious. And so a lot of that
Yep.
too is, the mental, I guess the mental capacity that you have to be in these high pressure situations. I don't know if he's mastered
Yep.
that yet.
I mean,
And
that's a skill.
when Grosjean lost St. Pete after the incident with Scott McLaughlin,
Yeah.
and then not even a couple races later, same
Barber.
guy, Scott McLaughlin, he couldn't beat Scott McLaughlin at Barber. And
That's
ever since then,
hurts.
he just never was the same.
Yeah.
I think it really got
he
to him.
wasn't competitive anymore.
Yeah.
The thing, and this is off the track, that I was really disappointed about with Grosjean is, so I became an F1 fan in 2020, and so I was really excited when it was announced that Grosjean was going to INDYCAR, and maybe in my own hubris, I was really hoping that he would pull in a lot of F1 fans to start watching INDYCAR. But I'm not sure, over the last couple of years, I'm not sure that F1 fans will ever want to watch anything other than F1, which is unbearably sad.
I hate to
Yeah.
say this, but and I could be overstepping, but I feel like it's like an elitist mindset.
It is.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I think to an extent, yeah. But
It's kind of like I hate to.
we all
compare
watched
to-
NASCAR in 2019, 2020. So
It's
I
kind of
don't
like
know.
NASCAR fans. I won't say that NASCAR fans aren't willing to watch other motorsports, like even local stuff. But I mean, for example, I don't watch much dirt racing because it just doesn't interest me.
It's
I
so
think it's
fun.
kind of like that, but on a bigger scale because it is F1.
Yeah.
And F1's huge.
Yeah.
I
Like,
think
why
it's just-
watch something else below it if you're already watching the top of the top?
Yeah.
And I guess that's the mindset too for like those who watch Cup. Like, why would I watch Xfinity and Truck if I'm already watching
yeah.
Cup? Like, why does it
Sometimes
matter?
I'm like, I don't even want to watch trucks. Like, why would I watch trucks? this
Yeah,
weekend?
well, and
Like,
I think it's the portion of the fan base that is very tired of seeing Max Verstappen win.
They're
It's
searching
the
for
same
something else.
part of the fan base that would enjoy IndyCar if they
Yeah.
watched
Yeah.
IndyCar because
I
the
think
cars
too,
look
with
similar. and it's way more competitive. Sorry, Adam.
It's okay. No, I think to go along with what you said right there, Rob, about how the fan base is getting bored with Max Verstappen, this fan base came in when he started winning. Us true fans that have been around since, before the pandemic, we had to endure 6 years of back and forth with Mercedes, with Lewis Hamilton winning everything. So it's not like we haven't seen this before. That's just the nature of the beast with
It's the harsh
F1. When the
reality,
team is
yeah.
on top. They're on top. Before Mercedes, it was Red Bull. Then it was Renault for like 2 seasons. Then it was Ferrari, and then McLaren, and so on and so on. It's just when a team's on top, they dominate. And for the new or newer fans of that sport, they truly need to do a little bit of a deep dive into the history to know what they're getting into. Mm-hmm. You look at INDYCAR. INDYCAR has parity all the time. That's why I love it. That's why I started watching it. It's because, oh wow, the red car won this week, but next week the blue car. Wait, the yellow car?
Yeah,
man, there's all kinds of different ones.
So many colors.
even then though, like you still get those like the Penske and Ganassi rivalries still alive and well, which is fantastic.
With other winners sprinkled in throughout the season.
Yeah. Like you get like
Hello having a season he had last year, he still is able to do that, which is just it makes it even more impressive.
And you still get like a Christian Lundgaard win, which is fantastic.
That was awesome. Very excited about that.
Yeah. And even with all that, though, Penske and Ganassi, they have won the championship, I believe, every year since Hunter Ray's championship. So
wow.
Even despite all that, there is the parity is in the wins, but long season, Penske and Ganassi are just overall more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only one to come close is probably Pato.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
And then Rossi, that 1 year against Joseph,
That's
was
right.
mathematically in it at the end, but other than that,
rise above.
Was it 18, 19?
I think it was 19 because Joseph won in 19.
Yeah.
I think it was 2009. There was like 5 guys alive for the championship, like throughout the entire season, and it all came down to the last race.
Wow.
Yep.
And it was like a 3-wide. It was a 3-wide finish across.
Oh, that was 08.
08. Okay, 2008.
Now I have to watch the 08 season.
Because after 08 is when they ended the season at Homestead for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was whatever year Frankie wasn't driving, which I think was 08.
Yeah.
So
classic IndyCar races are good to watch. That'd be something like a fun thing to do.
I don't know if we're on a time constraint or not, but someone brought up Christian Lundgaard. And I want to just mention that Rahal Letterman Lanigan, that team is such a wild card for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what to expect. They could either absolutely suck or they could like actually contend for wins. Because basically you can divide the season 2 halves for them, from the season starting to the Indy 500 and then after Indy to the end of the season. Because Graham Rahal gets bumped from the Indy 500. They're all abysmal, slow, awful. All 4 of their cars were like in bump day as well at the Indy 500. It wasn't just Graham Rahal. All of them were there.
Yeah.
And his teammate, Jack Harvey, was who bumped him out. So it was just not good for Rahal Letterman Lanigan. But then the second half, Lundgaard gets a win. They all look better. Graham Rahal almost wins at Indianapolis Road Course. I don't know what to expect with them. I really don't. And they have Pietro Fittipaldi coming in. I feel like that's a wild card. I don't know what to expect out of him.
Much a wild card.
Yeah.
And I think Lundgaard, he's in a contract year as well. It would not surprise me if a team, whether it's Ganassi, McLaren, if someone makes him an offer, because I think he is a championship caliber driver as well. And maybe that's who McLaren goes for if they want to get rid of Rossi.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And then Graham Rahal himself, I don't know. I think he still got it. I mean, he showed it at Indianapolis Road Course, but then other times he's running like 22nd. I'm just like, man,
like
just be the owner of the team at this point.
Well, the thing is he was never like he's never been a consistent winner if you take out.
True.
Well, to be fair, if you take out 2015, he has what, 2 wins? Because he won in 2017, didn't he?
He won like 2 races back to back. I think he swept Detroit 1 year or something.
Maybe he did. All right, hold up. I have Racing Reference right here. Let's look.
Pull up the stats.
Look at the
Didn't
tape.
he win
really
a
not
Texas
won that much?
Yes, you did. He swept Detroit.
Okay.
You were
What year was
absolutely
that?
right. 2017.
2017.
Great year.
But then after that, I don't think he's won since, and he's just kind of
I
been
don't think so either.
a
That's kinda
mid-pack
sad.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
But I don't know what you guys think, but that team, I am very curious, especially Lundgaard. Because I think if Lundgaard overperforms, I don't think he's there next year. Unless
Oh,
that
I
team is,
agree.
really, really good.
No, I think
Yeah.
I think he already outperforms that equipment.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I agree.
Getting rid of Takuma, that
Yeah.
kind of did it for me.
Mhm.
yeah, I love Takuma Sato. I'm upset he's not around anymore, right?
He'll be doing the
Part-time
Indy
Indy
500 this
500?
year.
Yep.
That's right.
He's a good one to have in your Indy 500 ride.
I believe he's doing it for coin in the car Catherine Legg had last year. I might be wrong on that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure,
Okay.
though.
Do we know what the field size is yet, or the entry size is?
35. There will be a bump day. 2 will go home.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
Oh,
As of now, someone else might jump in, but as of now,
I want
it's
It's
a
early.
live react. I want a live Zach reaction when it's Kyle Larson that gets bumped.
Haters! The haters have made it onto
No.
the live show.
oh man.
They
No,
went
no,
to
no.
my Twitter replies and
Ow.
they followed me to the live show.
Wow.
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 That was all
Wow.
a joke. In all honesty, I think he's gonna really contend.
What should
Please,
be in
Kyle
the fast-
Larson, do not get bumped because Zach is going to the Indy 500 with me. That'd be the saddest
Oh,
500
you guys are gonna have so
ever.
much fun.
Wait.
That's
Okay. So
awesome.
Zach, what's
Ooh.
worse, if Larson wrecks out of the 500 or if he doesn't make it?
Oh, honey, I'd rather him wreck out.
Okay.
He
Oh,
better
yeah,
because
like,
I'm
racing it?
flying in. I'm flying in, so that man better be there. I'm just saying.
Okay. Just checking. Just
As
checking.
long as he can safely wreck out, not get hurt, safely wreck out.
Fair. Fair.
But
And then
no,
we
that
can
would be-
watch him in the 600.
Because
that
not
night,
getting
like,
well,
Yeah.
listen. Because also think of it this way: not qualifying in means you suck. Okay.
Kyle Larson. is
Whereas
one of the
it's
best in the
embarrassing,
world.
right? Whereas if you wreck out, that's kind of like going out in glory. Like Pato Award wrecked
Yeah.
trying to win last year, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hated to see that. All right.
How do you guys think Kyle Larson's going to do? I'm curious what you guys more NASCAR focused think he's gonna do.
I don't even know how you even quantify how he's going to do because I've never seen him in an IndyCar before.
Right.
Right.
I never saw
But
Kurt
it's
Busch
like
in
Kurt Busch
IndyCar.
finished 6th, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Fernando
know.
Alonso in his first run, he was really good till the engine conked
That was
out.
really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say though, which Kurt Busch had more Indianapolis Oval experience than Kyle Larson
Yeah.
does.
Technically,
What do you
Kyle
mean?
Larson raced in how many Brickyards?
he ran.
Well,
Well,
Oh,
you're talking about like the
Like-
track.
He only had
yeah,
7
like an oval.
runs
Like
on
he
the
has
oval.
more. Like Kurt Busch had more oval Indy experiences.
Does that really
Um,
apply? Does
I don't know
that
how
even
much
know.
it
I
correlates,
don't know.
but
That's
that
a-
is an
that's-
interesting point.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
Because
think
Kyle
I just,
raced it for like I don't know 2014 to 20.
Yeah, I guess he did have enough years.
7
It felt like
racing
we
on the
were
oval.
gone from the oval more than the actual amount of years we were away from the oval. It was only like
I
3
mean,
years, right? It feels
He
more
really
feels
more
like
could
than that.
3.
contend
Yeah.
because McLaren is
1, 2,
fast,
3, 4.
and like we've seen. I mean, Jimmy even was fast at Iowa. Like NASCAR drivers, they
Fair.
can do this in this oval.
Yeah,
stuff with
no,
IndyCar.
and I joke saying he's gonna get bumped, but no, I actually do think like
no, yeah,
I think Fast 9 is very, very much in play.
like if
I agree.
I'll make
if it's
one.
Fast 9, I think if it's Fast 9 and he wrecks out, that's a successful Indy 500.
I'll make a prediction. I think he finishes all 200 laps, and then he comes to Charlotte and he finishes all 400 and actually completes the 1100.
That'd be awesome.
That's
I'd
what I
love
think is
to
going to
see that.
happen.
I hope so. I would hate to see that because Kurt Busch didn't.
yeah.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
Kyle Larson is doing more preparation than Kurt Busch did. I mean, Larson has done
Yeah.
tests at Indy already. He's just had a test at Phoenix. I think he's going to be a bit more prepared than Kurt Busch actually was. And I mean, if Kurt Busch finished 6th, and had less
He's
preparation.
also
Yeah.
He's also
I
at, like,
would
the peak
not-
of his motorsports career. Kurt Busch wasn't.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would not rule out Kyle Larson winning the Indy 500.
I
really
hate
would
to
not
talk
rule it
about
out.
it, but it's like if any race car driver is going to do it,
It's Larson.
he can do it. He's the
It gives
guy.
me
he does-
goosebumps saying that, by the way.
If he
Like,
does,
my
he'll-
hairs
my
are
heart,
standing up.
my
Like,
heartbeat.
oof.
Ooh.
If he does,
Like-
he'll earn the title as best driver in motorsports. Like I don't
Like,
you won't really be able to dispute it at that point.
Yeah. Because
And
everything he
the-
races in, he wins in. I mean, and he learns it. So he's
Yeah.
so quick to adapt, which is why I think he's going to do so
Yep.
well.
And the fact that he races all the time, like
Right.
every day he's racing something. So I think conditioning wise, he's probably the best shot at being able to do this.
Mhm.
We're
And
talking
he's gonna
like
be
peak
with
physical
McLaren.
motorsport shape.
Right. And with
Yeah.
McLaren. That's the thing, too. Like, there's
Like
there's
Pato
a
Award
shot
nearly
there.
won this race. Felix Rosenquist led a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the Indy 500 last year. Felix
Yeah.
Rosenquist, who's not like a top tier driver, was leading a lot of laps. I think he really could do it. Do I expect
be up
it?
there.
No,
No.
but I would like that would be an amazing story. And
There's
to
a chance.
go the opposite direction, by the way, to answer Ben's question in the chat, I think it'd be the biggest shock in a very long time if Larson were to
Yeah.
get bumped. I don't think it'll happen. I think McLaren is way more prepared than they were in 2019 with Alonso.
Mhm.
But man, I really think he should be in the conversation of potentially winning it. I really do think
And that's
he
so
had
weird
a
to say,
really good
but-
shot. I know.
Yeah.
It gives me chills. It gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
It
And like
happen.
Zach, if it happens, like you're gonna be crying. Like
You're
I was
carrying
so
me
emotional.
Out. No, I
I'll
will.
carry you. I
I will
will.
be dead. I'm
I don't
Zach's
know how
going,
I got out of that
Zach's
place.
going through the roof of the
When
pagoda.
Joseph went.
like, like I don't know how you're gonna drag me out of that that racetrack. Like I don't. Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
always a shoulder to cry on, Zach.
I will
You
be
got you.
climbing defense. Actually, like
Oh no, you
That's the
just
other
bring
thing
the
about-
crying towel that you introduced the other night.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just
You
play
probably
that
have
over
the
and
tap-
over and
tap the
over
crying
and
towel.
over.
Oh, my God.
I don't have my crying towel on tonight. I thought about bringing it out earlier. There was an opportunity.
So I guess we do have to bring this up because it is a possibility. So you two will be at the Indy 500.
Yes.
At least Taylor, Ben, Dom, and Adam, are you going to be at the 600?
I am not entirely sure yet. I'll be there for
Okay.
sure on Saturday and Friday.
Okay.
That's
So
some truck racing.
So at least like in this call, Taylor and I will be at the 600. So what do we do special if we all see Kyle Larson win in the same day?
I don't know.
Oh, like
Ooh.
if he wins
Oh,
both
if he wins
races,
both.
Yeah, if he wins
Yeah.
both races.
If
Huh.
he wins both,
we're getting ahead of
Can you
ourselves.
I know.
Well, that's crazy though,
ourselves.
because if he wins the Indy 500, then he goes
Okay,
to
but
the
you
race where he has the most chance to win.
Okay, but
Yeah.
see, so I work as a college graphic designer, so I have to be prepared for every scenario.
That's fair.
That's why
True.
I'm bringing this up. I have to know what we're gonna do.
Scream, shout, panic, like,
Die again?
That's
Like, I don't-
history. That'd
I
be
can't
like
die
the most
twice.
historic moment in
Shout it.
motorsports if
That's
that
a
happened.
Yeah, that would be a
Like, for
major
real.
historic moment.
So if he wins
Oh.
if he wins the Indy 500, Zach's going through the roof of the pagoda. So which means if he
Oh,
wins
yeah.
the 600, are we going through the roof of the condos? Like,
Yeah, I think that's what we have to
what's
do.
the
you know?
equivalent?
Wow, there we go. It's
It
gonna
is.
happen.
Screenshot of gang.
Man.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Oh,
I should've
Well,
wore
let's
my
talk a little bit more
I should've wore my
about
shirt.
Larson a little bit because he's going to be in our preview for our top 10. Have to get to this. Helps your fantasy lineup maybe. I think last week Dom actually did pretty good with crunching the numbers and predictions. It kind of worked out, so that's good. But yeah, these are all numbers that are put together to reflect only the spring race starts at Phoenix, not like the championship, fall races, etc. So Dom sent me a novel. I'm gonna read some of it. So here we go. So Larson is up there. We got the paint schemes for this week for our top 10 drivers that we think are gonna be in the top 10. So Kyle Busch is the top driver here. 2019 winner, 2 poles, 8 top 10s, 697 laps led, more than any other active driver. His 8 top 10s as well are more than any other active driver. He led the most laps 4 times, more than any other active driver in 0 DNFs. So, of course, most of those are going to be in Joe Gibbs Racing equipment. Obviously, not with Joe Gibbs Racing. So could vary out. We'll see. But yeah, so that's Kyle Busch. Second, we have Denny Hamlin, the 2012 winner. 5,673 laps completed, more than any other active driver, as well as 8 top 5s. Chase Elliott is in the 3rd position. Now, Chase Elliott's a driver I would like to talk about after I go through this list because, kind of a rebuilding year for him in that 9 team. And so far, the performance this year has been, again, this is going to be race 4, but still. For Chase Elliott, he got the 2020 pole and an 8.6 average finishing position, which is the best in the field. So keep that in mind. Joey Logano in 4th here on our list. The 2020 winner, 2017 pole position winner, and then 2 DNFs. So that's where we're kind of playing into the danger zone with Joey Logano here in that Hunt Brothers Pizza number 22. Brad Keselowski 5th. 2 poles, 2014 and 2021 in 5 top 5s. Then we go to Kyle Larson. I'm going to call him like the man of the hour because we've talked about him a lot, rightfully so. He's kicking butt right now. 2023 was where he got the pole position there, and then 60% of his starts resulted in a top 5 or top 10 at this track. Ryan Blaney, the champ. 2 poles from 2019, 2022, 6.1 average starting position. Lucky number, according to Dom, he has 12% of the laps. He has led 12% of the laps he has completed here. Great starter, not the best finisher at this track. Ryan Blaney tends to have really good starts to races, but doesn't really close them out. So starting to change that tune a little bit. Of course, Ryan Blaney for 7. Byron 8th. Defending winner. Numbers say he shouldn't be a race-winning contender, but he drives for Hendrick, so that's a change there. That works. 9, Martin Truex Jr., the guy that we said has really boring wins. 2021 winner, 2018 pole position winner, and only led 107 laps in 18 starts. So, for Truex. And then Chase Briscoe. You know what? He's been popping up in these stats recently, and I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, needs to kind of get it together a little bit, but still, I think pretty cool. 2022 winner, 3 starts, 1 win, 1 top 10, and 101 laps led in 3 starts. So hopefully I didn't mess any of that up, Dom, if you watch this back. But thanks for the notes. Let's talk about this top 10. Kind of predictions, thoughts, initial things jump out. Zach?
Well, Kyle Busch has to get through pit road without an issue first
before
I can even think he's going to win a race. I mean, as in every single race so far this year, they've had an issue on pit road or a penalty.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard that. Like, it's ridiculous.
No, it's true. They've been awful.
Those in the foot. If they can finally jump over that hump, they can maybe be a threat for a top 5. Yeah. They still got some work to do on that.
Stuff like that plagued them a lot last year. Like, last half of the season. So it's just like, I don't know.
It's kind of like what Tyler Reddick said at the end of the Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing that stands out most to me is in that whole monologue you just had was Blaney, how Dom says that he starts really good, but finishes really bad. Zach and I talked about that exact topic on our podcast, is that now it's kind of reversed, which is kind of how you want it to be with Blaney. Yeah. He's really figured out how to finish races. So, I mean, that is true. That was historically Blaney's career, basically, until late last year, because he would lead a whole bunch of laps, probably win stage 1 or 2, but then he would finish like 14th. That happened so many times with Ryan Blaney. That doesn't happen anymore. And so he's really starting to reverse that stat.
I think of Kyle Larson with that too, is where he might have really crappy starts to races, and then somehow he's in the mix and he's winning them. Like, it gives the same type of vibe. It's the quote unquote championship mentality. I think Ryan Blaney's figured out how to flip the script, how to keep digging to get the results that you need. So
that's what champions do.
Absolutely.
They're there when it matters.
Let's see. Now, and then Chase Elliott. Do we have thoughts on that? Concerns?
I have concerns.
There's a tale of, there's a tale of 2 Hendrick. A tale of 2 Hendricks.
Right. 2 Hendricks that are good.
Clearly, the 24 and the 5 are really just like last year, the classes of the field. And the 9 and the 48 are back half at the top 10 at best.
And that's kind of always been a thing with Hendrick Motorsports. 2 cars are usually really, really good, and then 2 are mediocre at best. But Chase Elliott, I still don't know if he's fully mentally back. Like, I haven't seen enough from him after last year. I don't know.
He needs to get momentum. Like, it's not just like the off season's not going to produce that. Oh, I'm back. I can do this. Like, he needs to get that momentum. It's where if he would have won the Indy road course last year instead, that could have been it. That could have changed the whole trajectory of the rest of his season. Right?
And I will say with Chase Elliott, he is typically like a second half of the season driver. He gets momentum in the middle or late in the year, and then he kind of goes on a roll. Bowman, however, he tends to, he's kind of sporadic, but when he has like race winning seasons, he wins them towards the first half as everyone's still trying to figure things out, and then he fizzles out. So I have no clue what to think about with Bowman, but with Elliott, I'm at least holding on to the fact that maybe it's the same type of vibe every season where we'll see him start to have momentum, maybe like 10 races in and build from that. But again, the mentality just feels off.
Definitely still too early to tell of what his performance is actually going to be.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be picking him to win races right now.
No.
I do think the Bowman, not necessarily hate, but like discouragement around Bowman is a bit overblown sometimes because like he's shown he can win races.
Oh, thank God Dom left.
Yeah. Don't tell Dom that.
It's I don't know. Like he definitely needs to perform. He's definitely like the weakest driver at Hendrick right now.
Yeah.
But
I think he always has been though. He's always been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like as long as Ally likes him, I think he'll be around.
It just made more sense for him to be like the weak link when he was in the 88 because the 88 was kind of always the weakest link, even when Dale Jr. was driving it.
Yeah.
To be fair, it is still the 88 car that is renumbered.
It's just
but the perception is now he's in Jimmy's
this
car.
Is Jimmy Johnson's replacement. Like what?
Yeah.
Because technically that's Byron's car is the old 48 team.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, Hendrick, they change their numbers all over the place.
Byron? No, that's Larson's car. The old 48 team?
Sorry, I meant Larson.
Okay.
Yeah.
They all swapped.
Hop off my goat.
Yeah.
See, it's confusing.
They swapped some.
I will just say, because I know we talked about it the last time we all met, but Justin Haley is currently ahead of 3 Stewart-Haas cars in points.
Oh, yeah. Let's bring up the points one more time.
Oh yeah, that was your bold prediction, wasn't it? Or someone's.
To be fair, there is
penalties involved though.
Yeah, the penalties are really the reason why that's happening.
Yeah, but Stewart-Haas always has a penalty that built in early season. That's just kind of a thing. It's a tradition.
DMO.
They do consistently get penalties. It feels like
They do.
That's the one thing they do consistently.
Which is so weird because they're like, what are you getting penalties for? Your performance is whatever you're doing, like cheating wise, it ain't working.
Try harder.
Try harder.
But then Noah Gregson did finish 6th.
Game recognized game.
He had great speed.
He did. He was
I really
consistent.
do think Noah's able to outperform equipment. I mean, he did really well in the 16 when he was able to have runs with Colleague on the part-time basis in 2022. Last year,
and even with the Beard Motorsports as well,
Yeah.
On the super speedways, he was able to give them good runs. Maybe not the best finishes, but was able to make a team that only appeared 4 times a year, be a contender.
Exactly.
That wheel issue killed Bubba in points.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had dropped all the way down to 14th.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Rise up, King. Rise up.
Well, do we want to save our winning predictions? I feel like we should save them.
I'm going to save it, but I want to go ahead and point out Ross Chastain. Be on the lookout for him. I know he won last at the fall race, but I was kind of surprised he wasn't in the top 10 for stats for this race. But I also understand that half of these races in the springtime he was driving for poor equipment. So that
he was in that premium.
Premium 15.
The aptly named Premium Motorsports.
Oh yes, everything is premium on that car.
Yeah. So
So
also
I think he could have an interesting run this
Yeah,
weekend.
you have a good day.
Just seeing how
Good.
Trackhouse has kind of come out with their guns kind of sort of blazing with all that momentum from Atlanta, and then just them Inspire just running pretty decent. So I think it could be interesting.
I put Tyler Reddick on your radar too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
He's been running well at Phoenix.
Tyler's got a lot of fire behind him. I think he's really wanting to be the first Toyota to win a points paying race this year.
And I think he can be. It's just a matter of, mistakes.
Yep.
Not on his end necessarily, but the pit crew's got to clean it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be chippy. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
I listened to Denny Hamlin's podcast about like the pit crew thing today, and I didn't really realize like what's going on, because all the good pit crew guys are taken up by all the established teams, to where 2311 has to just kind of work with these guys that are less experienced, more mistake prone. I find that really interesting.
And the interesting part of that too is where they're practicing right now out of Joe Gibbs Racing, so they don't have a lot of time. They have less time than the guys that are already in house to practice their pit stops, and until they build their new facility at Airspeed, which is like Denny Hamlin said on the show, like they're like 6 months out from that. They're still going to be missing out on probably the right amount of time that they need to practice these pit stops. And of course, he also said with that Legacy Motor Club would be practicing at their new facility once it's built as well, forming an alliance there. But no, it's very interesting when you think of the intricacies when you're like, oh, the pit crew sucks. And it's like, okay, well, take a step back. Let's learn why. What are the troubles that these teams are facing? And go from there. But it's more complicated at 2311 than just the performance is not there. There's reasons as to why. It's just a matter of how do you work around that,
Because their cars are fast, but that's their weakness that they have to figure out. And I mean, they have a solution coming, but they got 6 months until playoffs are in 6 months though. So I mean, that will be interesting if the playoffs start and immediately their pit crew is better. I mean,
you got to get yourself in there first, though.
That's the thing.
Got to get to the show.
Yeah.
But if you get in the show and you can figure it out right away, you could be dangerous and go far.
Yeah.
See Jimmy Johnson.
2016.
Yeah.
See Jimmy every year of the chase.
He wouldn't
win the entire summer, and then he would win like half the chase races.
It's the Jimmy
Johnson.
Chad
Knaus cooking. Chad Knaus was cooking those playoff cars.
Or 2011 Tony Stewart, 5 of the 10 chase races.
I'll run for the ages.
That's
I'll
still
run
one of the greatest stories of
ages.
NASCAR.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, my camera died.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Rob, you're looking a little.
Rob's a little.
Last time you were really tiny, and now this week.
Sorry. I didn't really have time. I used this camera last
Is that
night.
like Larry Mack's like phone camera? Like.
Now listen, y'all.
That's him trying to scan
Corey LaJoy's QR code. That's Larry Mack trying to scan the QR code you have on screen right now, Taylor.
It is. It's not going well. He's trying though.
Yeah.
I guess it's gonna be lit.
Poor Larry.
Ben. My God, we love Ben. We miss you, Bud, on the show. I guess with that, we'll close it out for the night. He fixed it. It's good. But we'll close it out.
Another battery. We're good.
You're good.
So
visit TobyChristie.com, of course, for all your NASCAR motorsports news. Constantly updating it with new stories, information about new team members joining, and whatever. Like, everything's on TobyChristie.com. Just like check that out. And then, of course, above the yellow line, where we have our merch there. This hat. If you want this hat, go to abovetheyellowline.com. We're selling it. We also have hoodies that just went for sale. So
hoodies.
Check that out. Pretty exciting stuff.
On the hood. Let's go.
And then, just, check us out on social media. Zach, Alex, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you. So much fun as always. It's
I know.
such a blast.
We're hooting and hollering over here. So, love it.
We're not barking.
Honestly, you have
We're barking this
to
time.
keep up with us.
Oh.
Yeah.
we didn't talk about the reason we're not barking is we didn't talk about Eric Jones.
That's true.
I did eye him. Listen, I eyed both legacy cars above the playoff cutoff, and I'm like, okay.
No, facts though, because they got the dogs in them.
Yeah.
Words.
The dogs.
The dogs.
Got that
And you know
dog
what?
in.
My apartment's fire alarms didn't go off this time.
Oh.
Things are looking up right now.
That's because
We're
you weren't
looking up.
talking bad about Hendricks.
That's true.
Yeah, Hendrick didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, remember when I said William Byron wouldn't win a race this year?
Everyone who follows
hilarious.
at
Oh my
Gay Racing
God.
Pod on TikTok remembers Zach.
God, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Where to find you guys on social media? Obviously, you have your handles on the screen here, but where else?
Yeah, you can find all of our podcast stuff at Gay Racing Pod pretty much everywhere. As I just said, TikTok, we're really trying to grow on TikTok. I've had so much fun making little clips, just like, as I just said, little clip we had from here when Zach proudly said William Byron would not win a race. That's on TikTok. Go check that out.
And
Gay
my
Racing
crying
Pod.
child segment.
Yeah,
I
and
brought
the crying towel
back,
segment.
if you know Jimmy Spencer from NASCAR Race Hub.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we are at Gay Racing Pod on X, Instagram, Threads,
Check out our
TikTok, our YouTube channel. We have a Patreon if you want to support us over there. And then I'm at Newgaden everywhere. And Zach, yours is a little different though.
I'm at Dreamy Zach Racing without the G at the end, and I'm on Twitter fighting the Kyle Larson haters. So if you enjoy that content, follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at Dreamy Zach GP on other sites, but he doesn't use others. So it's just Twitter really for him.
What? On other sites? What other sites?
Threads, Instagram.
Yeah, but I don't use them, so I don't know. So
Yeah.
don't follow me on there. You will not see anything from me.
So yeah, you have to be on X, unfortunately, to follow Zach, but it's worth it.
It
Yeah.
is worth it.
Help Zach fight the Larson haters. Go
Yeah.
on to X. Join the army.
I am always in
Larson
his
Nation.
I am always in his replies defending him, being like, "You're a new Larson fan. You must be a new NASCAR fan." I'm always going off on people in his replies. So I'm just like, I'm
I hate
defending
when they say
him.
I'm a new
love that.
Larson fan.
It's like he's been a fan since he was in the 42. Come on.
Yeah. We love it. My God. Well, let's all go on to Twitter after this then. Just join in the conversation. We'll continue it over there. But thanks everyone for
Yes.
watching. For myself, Alex, Zach, Adam, and Rob. We'll see you all next time. Next Thursday on our live. All right.